I'm Dave of Zippy Flies at Clearwater Fly Shop, and today we're going to tie the Simple Tarpon Shrimp. All right, so to tie this pattern, today we're going to use the Ahrex SA274 curved salt hook. These Ahrex hooks are super high quality, really like them a lot, and as you'll see here in a second, they have a real large gape as well, so it makes or gap or gape, whatever, however you want to say it, which makes it an excellent tarpon hook. It's really strong. It's got a shorter shank on it, so you know, if you're used to using like a Gamakatsu SL12S short, and you can't get them or whatever, you want to try something new and different, this could be a great option for you. So we're going to lay down a little bit of a thread base. Pretty simple pattern here, the simple tarpon shrimp, as we just kind of called it. We didn't have a name for it for a while, and then we just be like, hey, let's tie up some of those simple tarpon shrimps, and so that's just kind of become the name. Next is going to be just some craft fur. This is the Extra Select in color Sand, and you know, super a lot of action in the water without moving it a whole lot. It really moves even when you're not moving it much. Every little undulation in the water kind of makes it pulse and move around, and so it's a great choice for something that you might want to strip to a tarpon and then stop and pause it, you know. So even though it's not moving, it's still moving some. So I'm just pulling out a healthy clump here. Of course, we got to get the underfur out. If you don't have one of these underfur combs, man, they are great. You don't have to have one. You can use your fingers. You can use a regular comb. But all that really matters at the end of the day is you've got to get that underfur out. And now I'm just going to go ahead and try to pull out some of the stray fibers here. I do like to pull out some of the longer ones, and I'll just stack it in my hand. You know, we don't have to get super precise here, but you know, we do want to do a little bit of prep of our materials. And I'm going to shoot for something probably around the 2.5 to 3 inch mark. That's 2.5 right there.
Do you have a box for this reel, Branson? Another way to measure that?
Got a couple comments from the peanut gallery. And that's what makes working here so much fun. You never know what kind of snide comment you're going to get from the guys. I love it. But just going to go ahead and tie that in nice and securely. And I'm going to trim this out just at an angle to help it taper some. So as I clean up those butts there of the fur, it'll make a little bit of a cleaner tie. I'm about to cover it up, so it's not the end of the world, but simple little habit to get into. I can't help it each time I'm doing that. And that's going to work out pretty good. It's on the thinner side. I want this one to be sparse. I don't, you know, want it to be super chunky and all that kind of stuff. If I were tying this for in the back country, you know, and I was going to use maybe some squirrel or something along that lines on the front to really push some more water and make its presence known, I'd probably go a little bulkier, but I think that's pretty good right there. Now's a good time as any. I'm going to go ahead and bar this out. I'm going to use one of these Copic markers. You can use a Sharpie, there's nothing wrong with that. I've got these for working with some other products. They're alcohol based, so they'll bleed into one another on various products, which can be a good thing if you're trying to blend colors. Doesn't matter so much here in this case, but anyhow, I figured I would just mention them. They are not inexpensive. They cost a lot, but they do work very, very well. So if it seems like it's worth it to you, then go for it, give them a try. But I'm just going to bar this probably 4 times. And just give us that segmented shrimp body. All right, looking good. And then again here on the front, I'm going to use some EP shrimp dub. This is the smaller 0.75. This is a sand color. I just kind of want to match the color that I have for the tail. I'm going to trim off some of my wire. I don't need that much. And I'm only really going to wrap this around enough to cover those the tie-in point from the craft fur. So I'm just going to advance this thread to get it up out of my way. Matter of fact, I'll get this completely out of my way. take a few moments. Anytime I'm using these brushes, I just try to, train all the fibers to go backwards. I don't want to over wrap and all that material that you're paying for on these brushes. We don't want to wrap right over itself and effectively ruin the brush before we even get going. So, but I am going to stack it up real dense next to each other. Again, a real small profile fly. Don't want to be real intrusive, for the clearer water when we're fishing for these tarpon off the beaches, say here on the west coast of Florida. We want to be able to get this out there and not have it be this big giant, bait fish or something that just looks out of place. It needs to be something that was relatively small and just happens to be right in front of the fish, and awful easy for them to just take a moment and slurp it in. So I just heard a slurp in the background. The tarpon are here. I heard one. Oh, they're not here yet. Actually, they're here year round. It's just which ones that you want. Obviously, the big ones coming up the coast. They're on their way. So one of the reasons that we're tying these patterns today. All right, so before I comb that out, I'm going to go ahead and whip finish this off just to try to keep it a little neat and tidy. I do have some stray fibers up in there which are going to kind of drive me nuts. So what I'll do is get that whip finished. And then if you've never used one, having some sort of a cartery tool is great to just get rid of all those little extra things that are kind of hanging out. So there weren't a lot, but get rid of them. And again, before I comb this out, I'm just going to put one nice little drop of, this happens to be UV thick. Again, I like to just be able to put a tiny amount on. And it's kind of going to sit there, obviously, for a while, be the thick version. Then I can just kind of take my bodkin and slowly go around. Doesn't need a lot on there, just enough to cover the threads. Give it a little bit of time to kind of seek out its level. And there we go. Lastly, we'll go ahead and comb out this shrimp dub with our finger brush. Again, I'm going to work against the grain and just pull everything out, make it all crazy. Then I'm going to train it back. I have also done this with woolly critter brush. For this pattern, I don't like necessarily having all those little rubber legs. So if that's all you got, you could use it and pull the rubber legs out. That's what I usually do. But there it is, Simple Tarpon Shrimp on a real great hook right there. Again, yeah, it's simple, but that's the whole point. All right, if you like this pattern and you want to tie it yourself, look in the comments below. We have links to all the materials that we used. And if you got any questions, please ask.